Welcome to The Explainer, where we dig into the stories behind the headlines. Today, we're unpacking a foreclosure case that honestly turned into this incredible battle over what a fair fight even means inside a courtroom. All right, let's just jump right in. We're starting with a quote that is, well, it's an absolute bombshell from a sworn legal document. This isn't just dry legal language. This is a homeowner fighting for his house, basically accusing the other side of turning the law itself into a weapon against him. And that, right there, sets the stage for everything that follows. So, to really get what's happening here, you've got to see the battlefield for what it was. This was never just a simple foreclosure. It was a textbook case of a massive, and I mean massive, power imbalance. Look at this. On one side, you have Jeremy Bass. He's on his own, representing himself, trying to figure out this incredibly complex system all by himself. And on the other side, a corporation. It's got a whole legal team, tons of resources, and an experienced lawyer leading the charge. This is a real-life David versus Goliath playing out in a modern American courtroom. And you have to understand what was on the line for him. We're not just talking about a building. We're talking about $305,000 in home equity. For most people, that's their entire life savings. It's everything. The stakes just could not have been higher. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. Boss, facing this giant, doesn't just play defense. He goes on the attack with a really sophisticated and, frankly, super risky legal move that put the other lawyer's conduct front and center. In late 2023, Bass files this thing called a motion for judicial admonishment. He's basically going straight to the judge and saying, hey, this lawyer over here is making demonstrably false statements. You need to step in and put a stop to it now. Now, here's the really clever part of this whole thing. Normally, you'd file for something called Rule 11 sanctions, but that move has a catch. It gives the other side a 21-day safe harbor to just take back what they said. Bass sidestepped that completely. His move was faster, way more aggressive, and it was designed to keep the pressure on without giving them an easy out. And legal experts were kind of blown away by this. It's a legal chess move you almost never see from someone representing themselves. But wow, what a gamble, right? He was putting all his chips on the judge deciding to get involved. And it also tells you something really important. Bass was already playing the long game, thinking about a potential appeal down the road. And believe me, that was just the opening shot. Bass just keeps escalating, documenting every single thing he sees as unfair. He was building a case within his case, almost like a prosecutor. So by January, he files another motion, this time asking the judge to just throw out the other side's paperwork entirely. He's arguing that it's not just a few mistakes, it's a whole pattern of bad faith designed to poison the well and rig the game against him. And look how methodical he was. He didn't just complain. He broke it all down into these 4 clear categories. He's pointing out recycled arguments, inflammatory language. He's creating this incredibly detailed paper trail of what he calls unfair tactics. And then he drops the sworn affidavit we saw at the beginning. The language is just extraordinary. He's not just saying the other lawyer is playing hardball. He's accusing him of abandoning his professional ethics and turning justice into a weapon to crush an unrepresented person. Remember how they accused him of maneuvering for money? Well, Bass hit back with the receipts. He showed he was paying almost $1,400 a month for another place to live plus storage. This fight wasn't benefiting him, it was bleeding him dry. And some psychologists who looked at this case say this language wasn't just some clever legal tactic. It was the sound of desperation. It was the voice of someone feeling the immense psychological weight of fighting for their home, all alone, against this massive, impersonal machine. So you've got these really serious allegations. You've got a mountain of documents. The big question is, how did the court respond to Jeremy Bass's pleas for a fair fight? The response was silence. Just deafening silence. The judge simply chose not to rule on the substance of Bass's claims. He was left completely hanging, stuck in procedural limbo. And this put him in a classic catch-22. How do you report misconduct if a system designed to handle it won't even listen? It's the kind of thing that makes people feel like the whole system is just there to protect its own, not to actually deliver justice for everyone. And that silence, it set off a devastating chain reaction. Once his claims were ignored, the other side's story became the only story. On February 10th, the court calls his entire defense frivolous, slaps him with almost 10 grand in legal fees, and then on March 20th, it was over. He was physically removed from his property. Now, it would be really easy to just look at this as one person's sad story. But Jeremy Bass's fight, it's so much bigger than that. It puts a huge, glaring spotlight on a crisis that's brewing in our entire legal system. His struggle is really a window into a massive problem that's exploding in courtrooms all across America. The sheer number of people who are being forced to go it alone, without a lawyer. Just look at these numbers from the National Center for State Courts. It's staggering. In a whopping 75% of civil cases, that's 3 out of every 4, there's at least one person in the room without a lawyer. But the system, the rules, the language, it's all still designed for professionals. It's an uneven playing field by design. And this right here brings us back to the heart of Bass's whole strategy. He wasn't just some angry guy yelling. Look at the specific legal rules he was citing. This was a sophisticated, well-researched defense. And what analysts now believe is that he knew he was probably going to lose at this level. The entire thing was about building a perfect, detailed record of procedural unfairness, all for the benefit of an appeals court later on. Which leaves us with this huge, lingering question. When 3/4 of the people in civil court don't have a lawyer, what does a fair fight even look like anymore? Jeremy Bass's story really forces you to think about what justice means when one person shows up with their bare hands and the other side shows up with an entire army.